Especially for you, I translated my video with my lovely AI-generated voice.
We continue with the tutorial account. I have meanwhile already become level 20, and that means, of course, starting at level 20, it's off to the Volkhov River. Yes, and here on the Volkhov, you can, of course, fish at the most varied spots, but it also becomes extremely dangerous because here really big fish can already come in. And we have here a huge advantage, as you surely know, since you already know the basic tutorial here, which shops, where do you buy, and so on. Which specialty shops are there here on the Volkhov? Here we buy at the cheapest prices, or rather we have the 100% prices here, and 100% price means we have no markup, so we have normal prices here. Another advantage, everything is always in stock. That's also really essential, and that's important. If we want to buy something, then we can shop here. Oh, but here comes a nice fat burbot, man. Yeah, 5.7 kilograms. Nice gear, gladly more of those. Nice XP is also included. So, quickly cast out again. This here is of course right now the strongest rod that I have, although not quite so thick and heavily built. Let's take a closer look in a moment. So with that, I'm out and about on one hand, and I'm currently saving up the last silver. I'm already back up to 1,700. I need about 1,800 for the next rod. Maybe we'll get that together in a moment. Then we'll of course buy it right here on the Volkhov too. Well, look at that. Yes, I'll gladly take that one too. And cast out loosely again. So, how am I positioned here now? I don't have too much yet, of course. That means I'm standing here, as I already said, with my carp rod that I showed last time. What's best to buy though? And what's the best way, and also the cheapest way, that will be shown in this video. What to buy from level 20 on. The mid-game setup that will be shown here can theoretically already be bought from level 18 onward. So, between level 18 and level 25, you can buy this mid-game setup and be really well equipped with it, and you can use it well into the end game for a long time. This rod I bought most recently in the last video, and I'm quite happy with it. However, it's not yet worthwhile to specifically target carp with just one rod. The frequency is simply far too low for that, and accordingly, I'm still fishing for small fish. I was last standing at the winding rivulet, which you could see in yesterday's video. So the two spots that keep working really well, plus two bonus spots as well, all of those will also be shown in this video, where you can then go after specific fish, for example zander at the winding rivulet. This morning I also completed the Volga zander as a cafe order. So, with what I have here so far, that means I have one spinning rod here, I have the bolognese rod here, I have the pole rods together here. So, with everything I've bought so far, I have an incredible number of options at the most varied waters to catch the most varied fish for all the cafe orders in turn. And that's how I make most of my silver. I've almost completed 200 cafe orders, and that at level 20. I think that's a pretty good ratio. Constantly completing cafe orders, because with cafe orders we always get a multiple more silver, and that's simply the most effective way for me to progress here in the game. Yes, right now I'm standing here on the Volkhov, and this is a spot that's also quite well known. I already tested two other spots just now, but they weren't as effective. I wanted to press M just now. I don't even have the map, but I'll just show it quickly anyway, because the way here also keeps causing confusion time and again. We're here now in the city, and if you start here in the city on the Volkhov, you simply go down here to the boat dock, and then you don't even need to take the boat across to that island over there. Instead, we simply travel across here with the ferry, and we're already over here, and then it's directly over here. A really classic spot, an essential spot, really, just positioned here in this area. And then we cast where the eye is, that's where we throw it, cast out loosely. I don't even have a line clip in. Between 15 and 20 meters, you can simply cast out. So loosely here, as I said, into this reflection, into the shade here from the big tree, just thrown in there, and then that usually works out quite well. Among other things, also with eel. The eel is also caught here again and again, so a classic spot. That there was now just with Nightcrawler, so quite a realistic spot indeed to catch something there in terms of eel. That down there, those were just the other spots. And now, as I said, here at this spot, it actually also gets going quite well. I'm traveling pretty basic here, simply with the small feeder rods, again with the size 18 hook and Nightcrawler. So I'm traveling extremely cheap because I simply don't have any silver. That's why I have to save, use cheap bait, and of course try to get the maximum out of the cheap bait. This here is probably another burbot again. They always strike like that. Well, it's already hooked. Still not yet. Still not yet. Now it's on. Bam. I hope it stays on too. So exactly, the burbots, they often play with the bait. Gladly more burbots too. That's worth it. We'll see in a moment when we take a look at the net screen how much the whole thing has brought in. So cast out loosely again in that direction. Maybe something more will come in during the morning hours. Speaking of eel, targeting eel specifically usually isn't worth it, because over the entire time, if you stand a whole night, for example, at the Old Berg, and you search the whole time for the eel because some high-level player said, "Oh my God, you catch the eel there," then with luck, you might catch 1 or 2 fish in the night. But that's obviously not very much. Of course, a single eel like that can also bring in really good silver and good XP too. But the probability that you also catch no fish at all during the night, that's not so low either. So as a beginner, it usually isn't worth it to specifically target eel. What you can do, however, is if you're fishing at that body of water, and you're fishing, for example, the whole time at the Old Berg with bread bait all day, catching gibel carp and crucian carp there, maybe every now and then a carp, that in the night you make the switch to a Nightcrawler, and then besides the gibel carp and crucian carp, maybe you'll also get grass carp. Then you simply have the chance that the eel also comes in as a bonus fish, simply as a random catch. At the Old Berg, I even caught the eel on plain Nightcrawler. Here it actually still is. Simply on Nightcrawler at the Old Berg, 1.8 kilograms, and that quite classically at the typical spot too, when you leave the Old Berg, down to the left. So this really classic spot, just caught on the side while fishing here for gibel carp and crucian carp, an eel suddenly went in too, which I'll gladly take along. And that's how the whole thing makes sense. And you don't waste so much time. If you stand here for 30 minutes the whole night through, and you only catch small fish, or maybe even no fish at all, then that's really not effective, of course. You also simply don't get any percentage progress in your fishing style. I'll gladly take the tench too. So far, I have to say, I really like the spot here because I'm catching quite different fish here again. And that, as I said, with the size 18 hook and Nightcrawler. So really effective so far. And then as a bonus rod, I now have my carp rod already in use here too, of course with only 5 kilogram line, though a size 1 hook, and the Nightcrawler. So that's the basic combination here right now. And that's how I keep fishing further right now, of course, for somewhat bigger fish. Here maybe another burbot is coming in during the morning hours, and here on the side too we have the next bite. So that can gladly continue like this. I think there's actually already something on it. Yes, indeed. Maybe we even have an eel. I'd gladly take that too. Why not? No, it's the burbot again. But that one's also really good again, over 3 kilograms. So good weights, quickly cast out again. Maybe I'll get lucky again and another one comes in. That was about 10 meters out again, roughly. Here's something small on it too. Yes, that can gladly continue. I'll gladly take all of it. And that's how it makes sense, to effectively and continuously pull one fish after another out of here. Good fish out of here with a good weight. So this here is definitely also a way to really make silver and XP on the Volkhov. Well look, here's one hiding too. It didn't even announce itself, a really small one. And I'm surprised nothing is biting here at all. Let's take a look in here again. We'll pull this one out too for a moment. And I'll leave the one set up here for now. Maybe something more will still go in there. But let's take a quick look now in the net, or rather first of course into the cafe. Are there any special orders today? There are a few orders. There's one for gibel carp and crucian carp. That would actually even be an option right at this spot. I'll definitely finish that one off in a moment. 3 more of those. Nays could be caught. Zander would also definitely be a possibility. You'll also find a few videos on that already on the YouTube channel, on how to fish for Zander here on the Volkhov. So I'll definitely try that too in a moment. Of course, in the evening and morning hours, perch might even be a bycatch then too. So it's definitely realistic that I can complete these orders here if I'm short on silver in a moment. And now let's take a look, of course, at how much silver the fish have brought in. Let's get rid of all the ones down here. Or, no, the gibel carp, I'll keep those. I need those after all. The slightly bigger ones, the smaller ones here, those all go. That's another 10 silver now. And let's also sort by price here for a moment. You can already see here, the Burbot really brings in good silver. Simply caught on nightcrawler, that's not bad at all. And when an eel accidentally goes in too, that's of course really nice as well. So, simply set up here with the nightcrawler at the spot already marked, that's worth it. I think I'll sell just these ones here for now. I hope that's enough. 1,850. Now I actually need to check again whether that's enough for the next rod or is that too little. The Model 1 picker, it's just barely not enough. I'm still missing about 40 silver, and even if I sold everything now, that wouldn't be enough. So, back to the Burbots again, and make a bit more silver so that I can finally get the next rod here, because I see right now that I'm not missing much anymore until the next percent. And there we go. Look at that. 49. Maybe the next fish will be the one that gives me the 50% in bottom fishing. And then, of course, I'll rebuild the whole setup again, though without putting skill points into it, because then I'd have to have the inline rig unlocked right away. So, cast right back there into the shade again. That's how it looks here right now. So I'm still missing here up to the 50%. Then, of course, I'll rebuild my setups first onto the inline rig, and specifically always when I'm going for volume. When I'm standing in at the winding rivulet, for example, and fishing for frequency so that I catch as many fish as possible, then I stay on the inline rig. But should I have a spot though, like most recently the gibel carp and crucian carp spot, or a spot where you occasionally have the chance to maybe catch a trophy after all, then I naturally use these 2 rigs. Of course, one is the hair rig for boilies, and of course, first this rig here, but only because I've skilled it. So this isn't a recommendation that you should go into the end game with this rig here, specifically this simple basic rig. At the latest, once I've unlocked the loop rig down here, then I'll reskill again. And specifically, I'll then use this reset button up here, then all the points get reset, and then it gets redistributed again. But until then, of course, I use it as is. I use one basic rig for natural bait. I then use the rig for boilies here. Skill points go into that, and later on, of course, into the pop-up rig as well. And with that, I then have 3 skilled rig types for all the important baits here in bottom fishing. I do something similar with float fishing. Here I've directly skilled the first rig. I use that the whole time. And with spin fishing, it's the case that I first only use the spinners here, and of course also only have skill points in the spinners for now. Now I even have 3 skill points left over. And since I already have 5 skill points in making ground bait, the next step for me now would actually be to invest skill points into the scoop as well. From level 20 on, I now get 2 new skill points with every level, and accordingly I'll have enough skill points together by the time I eventually reach the pop-up rig. And on we go right here. Next Burbot. And on the other rod, there's something on it too, I think, right? What do we have here? Yes, a smaller Burbot. Quick, cast out again. We want a nice big Burbot here. I need cash. Oh, another little one goes in there too. That's a tiny thing. I don't even want that. Something so tiny here in the morning hours. I think I'll just sell now what I have. That should be enough now. So I've now caught a few more burbots here and a few more gibel carp and crucian carp. And now let's just do payday here. Select everything at once. Bam. So I've got 1,900 silver together. I'll just stay standing here half AFK in a moment while I edit the video. But now I'm getting my Model 1 picker rod here, the second one. Once more the warning, watch out. This is a very special path that I'm taking. The path from the video, what to buy from level 20, is significantly more effective. It's significantly cheaper. You reach your goals significantly faster. What I'm doing here right now is special because I'm doing this as a tutorial account. This is not a recommended path, what you should buy yourself. Also, at the end of the video, I'll show that video again, what to buy from level 20. Everything recommended there is worth it, and it's also still good for you to use throughout the endgame. So I'm now buying the pigger here, and with that, I finally have the next rod together, which means I can now also make a bit more XP again with the next rod. I'll now also take this setup here again in a moment. We'll take this apart now, and then I'll build the picker together with it. So the 3000 size reel goes on here. Then my size 7 line goes on here too, with a 7 kilogram bite alarm. Yes, we'll get all of that here now from the other setup. So now the next feeder rod gets swapped out here. The beginner feeder rod, that comes out here now. There we go. And that means then with this setup too, this one completely taken apart now, and we swap that out for the second picker rod. So, and with that, I can now continue here. The bite alarm goes on here. Then of course, we also need the matching sinker. We don't need a leader. In this case, I probably just use a size 4 hook here now, and the nightcrawler not quite as big as on the other setup. I only have 100 meters of line on here, and then we cast out loosely here too. So significantly more drag power now on this setup too. And that's how we go in here now. And I continue. 2 carp rods here now. So I've got 2 carp rods together now. Unfortunately, I still haven't gotten the missing percentages. That's of course always a bit of a shame, but the frequency here is of course also a bit lower. I'll do about 1 more hour here now, test a bit more here, and after that, I'll head back to the winding rivulet again. Then I should get really good new percentages there again too. And then I'll surely soon have the missing percentages together there as well. If you enjoyed this and it helped you, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit like, it helps me. And we'll see each other in the next video. Until then, tight lines.